Hare Krishna. So we'll start with a Mangalacharan prayer. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swaparantitam. Vande Ham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Shahagana Ragunatam Vitantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savarutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakam Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantha Radha Kantha Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Stuti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaisnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangam hayate girim jat kripa tamaham vande Sri Gurun Ninataram Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. So welcome back everybody for the Bhakti Sastri class, to our Bhakti Sastri, regular Bhakti Sastri class. So uh, anybody still remember what we have discussed in our previous class? Just to refresh before I start today's session. Some of you may share what you remember.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Vishnu Chitta Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, last class we concluded with the 30th verse of chapter 2, and we saw how Krishna defeats Arjuna's first argument, first reason to not fight, which is compassion.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. So in the previous class, we have extensively discussed about the Sankhya philosophy given by Lord Krishna to Arjuna just to defeat his first argument for not fighting, which is, falsely Arjuna was feeling compassion. Well, it's actually Arjuna's sincere feeling that he feels compassion. He didn't want to kill his grandfather, teachers, relatives. But we say false because, after all, it is a false thing. The body is meant to die. Anyway, if Arjuna doesn't kill them, anyhow, somehow or other, by Krishna's divine arrangement, they will die by any other means. So therefore, Krishna is also try to encourage Arjuna by giving this Sankhya philosophy, which is about the eternity of the soul. Sankhya means to analyze, so to analyze between matter and spirit. So we are not the body, ultimately we are the spiritual and we are eternal. So when uh, when Arjuna kills somebody in the battlefield, it's actually Arjuna didn't kill anybody because the soul is eternal. So that is Krishna's first attempt to defeat Arjuna's first argument not to fight, which is compassion. So we will see more on today's session, like Krishna will defeat Arjuna's arguments not to fight. So we'll try to cover till text number 53, hopefully, but let's see how far we can go. We just depend on Krishna. Okay. So we'll talk about karma kanda. By prescribed duties, gain material enjoyment. So Arjuna's argument, the next argument that Arjuna gave to Krishna is that enjoyment, how he can enjoy without uh, seeing his relatives along with him enjoying. So what is the point of gaining the kingdom but all of them dying? So now Krishna is actually going down. Actually, Sankhya philosophy is higher than Karma Kanda philosophy. But sometimes when we don't accept higher philosophy, you have to go to the basic again. You have to go to the basic philosophy. Then you have to start preach from that platform, because not everybody is ready. Immediately. Sometimes when we are preaching, also we are facing these difficulties. Not everybody can immediately follow the four regulative principles, for example. So our first attempt is that just ask them to chant Hare Krishna. So later on, gradually they will follow the four regulative principles as they are chanting, as they are getting more purification. So this is Krishna's tactic. When the Sankhya philosophy is not really affecting Arjuna's mind, Arjuna's consciousness. So now Krishna will give a lower philosophy, which is about karma kanda. After defeating Arjuna's argument by knowledge of the eternity of the soul, Krishna now takes a different approach. Even if Arjuna identifies with his body by fighting as Kshatriya, he will be happy. Krishna thus refers to Karmakanda teachings to primarily defeat Arjuna's second argument, which is enjoyment. Krishna explained that if Arjuna fights, he will find enjoyment, but if he doesn't, he will incur sinful reaction and infamy. Krishna also touches Arjuna's other arguments, compassion and sinful reaction. Verse 32 speaks of the gains Arjuna would get by fighting, and verse 32 to 37 describe the losses he will incur by avoiding his duty. So again, Krishna in this section, he will touch about compassion, Arjuna's reason not to fight, compassion. So we will see that. So this quote is actually is there in your student handbooks. In your student handbooks, I took it from there. So this is just the summary of this section from text 31 to 38. This is the summary. So text 31. Swadharmam apichaveksha navikampitum arhasi dharmyadhi yudhyachayonyat kshatriyasya navidyate. Translation. Considering your specific duty as Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles. And so there is no need for hesitation. So Swadharma means one's occupational duty. There is Swadharma and Paradharma. Paradharma means others' duty, and Swadharma means our own duty. Later, of course, in the third chapter, Krishna will tell Arjuna that better performing our own duty, although it is imperfectly done, rather than performing others' duty perfectly done. Because try to engage in others' duty actually very dangerous. Krishna explained that to Arjuna. So as Kshatriya, there is no better engagement for Arjuna, which is fighting. Of course, fighting is not on a whimsical base, but it should be uh, under the superior instruction. So Srila Prabhupada explained in the purport, Ksat means hurt. One who gives protection from harm is called Kshatriya. Ksat and Trayate. Trayate means to give protection. So, however, killing animals in the sacrificial fire are not at all considered to be acts of violence because everyone is benefited by religious principles involved. The animal sacrifice gets a human life immediately without undergoing the gradual evolutionary process from one form to another. So why Srila Prabhupada is writing this purport about the Brahmana? Because Srila Prabhupada is comparing. Actually, when a Kshatriya performing his duty of fighting on the order of superior authority, when he kills somebody, that's actually as good as a Brahmana performing animal sacrifice. Because when a Brahmana performing animal sacrifice, there is no party which is gaining something or losing something. I mean, like, there is no party who's losing something. So the Brahmana will get purification because of performing the sacrifice, and also the animals will get elevation. And Srila Prabhupada mentioned here, this particular animal will get the human form of life in its next life immediately without undergoing the 8 million and 4 lakhs types of species. So Kshatriya also like that. When Kshatriya kills, actually he doesn't incur sins in the battlefield. We are talking in the battlefield. So when in the battlefield Kshatriya kills, actually he doesn't incur any sins because that is his duty. Rather, actually, the Kshatriya help to punish those who are sinful. In the case of this battle in the Kurukshetra, so it is described by Srila Prabhupada. He was quoting the Manu Samhita. It is mentioned that if a sinful man, if a sinful man killed, sometimes the king will order the his official to kill some offender, let's say like that. So this offender actually he gets benefited because by he being killed, actually he will not undergo many trouble in his next life because he already pays some of his uh, sinful reaction by being hanged, by being killed. So similarly, those who die in the battlefield, actually they will get heaven if you die in the battlefield. So those who die, they will get heaven. So in one purport in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada, I forgot the exact reference, but Srila Prabhupada mentioned actually those who die, everybody, those who die in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, they are actually promoted to the Vaikuntha planet. Some Sometimes I ask this question, then what about Duryodhana? Is he Duryodhana and his brothers, those who died in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, did they also get promotion to the Vaikuntha planet? So I asked this question to one senior devotee, and he said it, and he said that yes, those who die seeing Krishna, especially those who are being trampled by Arjuna's horses, they die and seeing Krishna, actually they get promoted to Vaikuntha planet immediately. So there is no better engagement for Arjuna of not fighting because he is Kshatriya, and he's fighting because he was ordered by superior authority to establish the religious principle. Text number 32. Yadrichaya Chopapanam Swargadharam Apavritam Sukina Kshatriya Parta Labhante Yudham Idrisham. Translation. O Partha, happy are the Kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of heavenly planets. So Swargadwaram Apavritam. So actually heavenly planet is the goal of those who are performing karma kanda because they want to enjoy more, how to say this, sophisticated sense gratification. So in the heaven, the standard of enjoying senses is actually much more elevated than what we experience here in the earthly planet. So heaven is the goal for those who are karma kandis. So Arjuna is advised by Krishna here, you just fight, there is no loss. There is no loss actually. If you die in this battle, you will go to the heaven. If you win the battle, you will get the kingdom. So there is no loss for Arjuna. Just fight. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, considering all aspects, Arjuna had no reason to refrain from fighting. If he should conquer his enemies, he would enjoy the kingdom. And if he should die in the battle, he would be elevated to the heavenly planet, whose doors were wide open to him. Vishnu Chitta Prabhu, you have a question?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, please.
Um, I was wondering if you can just quickly touch on the last paragraph of the previous verse. Prabhupada's mentioning two kinds of swadharma. Um, I, I I just wanted to hear if you have anything to say about that.
Which one? Two types of Swadharma?
Yeah, Prabhupada says as long as one is not liberated, one has to perform the duties of his body according to religious principles.
Hmm.
When one is liberated, one's swadharma becomes spiritual. It is not in the material bodily concept.
Ah,
So,
okay. I got it. I got it. Thank you.
mm,
So, Swadharma, actually, this Sanatan Dharma, okay? The Sanatan Dharma, there are two types of Sanatan Dharma. One is Bhagavata Dharma and one is Varnashrama Dharma. So on the material platform, our Dharma is Varnashram Dharma, which is pertaining to this body. We have to follow some certain rules and regulation. We have to eat also, how we maintain. We have to, do so many obligation pertaining to this body. That is called Varnashram Dharma. So when we are liberated, then our solely duty is just to perform the Bhagavata Dharma. So both this Varnashram Dharma and Bhagavata Dharma, they are eternal. They are eternal. Therefore, this is called Sanatan. They are eternal. Sometimes we have this misunderstanding, even among ISKCON devotees, that Varnashram Dharma is completely material and it is not important. After all, it is not eternal. No, that is not the fact. Okay. First of all, Varnashram Dharma is also eternal. Why? Because Varnashram Dharma is pertaining to the material nature. Okay, there are 5 subjects which are discussed in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita: Iswara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, and Karma. So the first 4 that I mentioned, they are all eternal. And karma alone is not eternal because karma can be changed. But Iswara is eternal, Jiva is eternal, Prakriti, Mother Nature is eternal. But the understanding is that sometimes it is manifest and sometimes unmanifest. But Prakriti is Krishna's energy, Krishna's external energy. Therefore, Prakriti is eternal and Kala also eternal. So Varnashram Dharma related to the Prakriti or material nature. And this body is made of, 24 elements, which is provided from the material nature. So these are 2 types of occupational duty: Swadharma, Bhagavata Dharma, and Varnashram Dharma. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentioned that as long as we are on the sadhaka platform, sadhaka means those who are practicing sadhana, all of us, sadhaka platform, we must follow the Varnasrama system. Sometimes amongst the devotees, we heard this many times. I personally heard this many times that you just need to chant Hare Krishna and everything will be okay. Well, of course, kalau nastiwa gatir anyatha, there is no other means in this age of Kali Yuga other than to chant the holy name of the Lord, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. But we do need to follow the Varnashram system because, first of all, why Srila Prabhupada would instructed all of us to reestablish the Varnashram system of course, when Srila Prabhupada talk about Varnashram, mostly he's referring to self-sufficient community, that's first of all, and then cow protection. That means in order to revive the Varnashram system, so the Vedic culture should be revived also. And Vedic culture, when we talk about Vedic culture, we cannot separate Vedic culture with Brahmanical culture. And Brahmanical culture cannot be separated from cow-centered culture, because a Brahmana cannot live without cows. And then where we can ideally maintain the cows is only in the villages. Only in the villages where we can take care of cows nicely. So that's Srila Prabhupada's desire. Therefore, he mentioned that 50% of my mission is incomplete, and that is Varnashram. So Varnashram is definitely essential. It is material, but it is eternal, because we are living in the material world, so we have to follow it. As long as we have this material body, okay. Many times I encounter this question, why you are promoting Varnashram Dharma so much? Just chant Hare Krishna. So my only response is that, okay, you just chant Hare Krishna, why do you need to eat? Why, after all, do we need to eat? Okay, because you have material body, you have to maintain the material body. So similarly, we are living in the material world. We have to follow. We have to follow. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of course, this very famous um, conversation between Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Roy in the Madhya Lila, Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Ramananda Roy, please tell me the essence of all the Vedic scriptures. And Ramananda Roy start from Varnashram actually. Varnasrama Charata, what is that verse from Vishnu Purana? Varnasrama Charavata Purushina Parapuman Vishnur Aradhyate Pantha Ananya Tatosa Charana. So the verse mentioning that na anyat tatosa charana. There is no other means to please Lord Vishnu except following the Varnashram system. So that is from Vishnu Purana. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Eho Bahya. This is external. Please tell me something more. And then Ramananda Roy start with the Yat Karosi Yat Arnasi verse from the 9th chapter. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again mentioned, this is external. Please tell me something more. And Ramananda Roy, he told the Sarva Dharman Parityaja verse. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, this is also external. Please tell me something more. So does it means that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says it is external, it means that we have to neglect? No, let's analyze. So like Yat Karosi, Yat Asnasi, this is very practical for our day-to-day life. We have to do everything for Krishna. We offer, we cook, whatever we eat, it should be first offered to Krishna. Whatever we do, it should be meant for Krishna satisfaction. Whatever charity we give, the best charity is in relation to Krishna consciousness. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said this is external, so it doesn't mean that it is not important. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after all, he wants to hear the Rasa Lila, from his pure devotee. Because Ramananda Roy is completely free from three modes of material nature. He's not affected by lust. He's not affected by lust. Yeah, anyway, we can go on and on on this topic, but the point is that the swadharmas, two swadharmas mentioned in the purport, is actually the Bhagavata Dharma and Varnashram Dharma. So both are important. So we have to follow. Just like I'm living in India, I'm from Indonesia, but I'm living in India. So I have to follow whatever rules established by Indian government. I have to have my visa. I have to follow everything here. Otherwise, I will be kicked out. Otherwise, I will be punished by the government. So similarly, we must follow Varnashram as long as we are living in the material world, even though if we are the Mahabhagavata devotee. Just like King Ambarish or any other great personalities that we find in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So like Ambarish Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, all these kings, They are great devotees, but they still follow. The best example is that Lord Ramchandra himself. He is the Supreme Lord himself, yet he is following the Varnashram very strictly. As Kshatriya, he followed it very, very strictly. So those are the two Swadharmas, Varnashram Dharma and Bhagavata Dharma. And those two are actually belong to Sanatan Dharma. They are both eternal. But Varnashram sometimes manifests and unmanifest. Manifest when we are here in the material world. But if we are in the spiritual world, there's no need of following Varnashram. But we are here. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that, what is that verse? Naham vipro na chanara patir napi vaishuna sudro naham varni na cha griha patir va nastoyatirva kinto prodya nikila paramananda gopi bhartu pada kamalayor dasa dasa anudasa. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I'm not a Brahmana, I'm not a sannyas, I'm not Grihastha, I'm not Kshatriya, I'm not this, I'm not Sudra, I'm not Vaishya. I'm just the servant of the servant of the servant of the gopis. But yet at the same time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he accepted Grihastha ashram, and he was very, very exemplary. If we read Chaitanya Charitamrita or Chaitanya Bhagavat, he was very exemplary when he was a Grihastha. Brindavan Das Thakur explained in Chaitanya Bhagavat that when he was a Grihastha, he's not even cracking a joke with any other ladies. He's not even, sometimes we find, even we experience that, you know, uh, we crack jokes with other ladies, with many ladies, friends. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, no. Although he was a Grihastha, he talks to any other ladies as much as he needs. And that's it. And then when he accepted the sannyas order, even more strict, he didn't talk to any ladies. So the ladies used to offer obeisances like 100 meters away. So he was showing such a very exemplary that he is following the Varnashram system very strictly. So yeah. Yes, Vishnu Chitta Prabhu.
So, Prabhu, can you give examples of Bhagavata Dharma? Just chanting japa,
Yeah.
performing all
Mm-mm-mm.
devotional activities.
Yes. So Bhagavata Dharma is all devotional activities, like the 9 processes mentioned by Prahlad Maharaj, the 7 cantos, Shravanam, Kirtanam, and all the 64 angas of bhaktis described by Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. These are all Bhagavata Dharma. When we chant, when we attend the Mangalarati, these are all Bhagavata Dharma. And Varnashram Dharma referring to the body, how we should maintain this body, how we, act as, let's say, a Vaishya, how we produce our own food, or a Brahmana, how we should act in the society as Brahmana, or a sannyas. This is social order. So social order is the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra. This is social order. So that is the Varna. And ashram means the spiritual order from Brahmachari ashram, Grihastha ashram, Vanaprastha ashram, Sannyas ashram, how we behave in the society. There should be a manager in the society, there should be leaders, and the leaders should hear from the Brahmana. And the society should maintain the Brahmana. Nowadays, we find our Brahmanas, they are struggling to maintain their life. Actually, begging is the right for the Brahmanas. Begging is the right for the Brahmanas. So there are different types of charities explained by Lord Krishna in the later chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, and those charities actually influenced by the 3 modes of material nature. So the charity in the mode of sattva good, in the mode of goodness, is charity that given to the Brahmanas or those who are Krishna conscious. So that is best charity. So if we give some money to the beggar in the street, that's absolutely charity in the mode of ignorance, in the mode of tamogun. So yeah, that is the example, whatever pertaining to spiritual activities, that is Bhagavata Dharma. And when pertaining to the material body, such as how we maintain our body, how we get our income, what kind of work we do, that is Varnashram Dharma. And actually, as the Acharyas describe and desire, especially Srila Prabhupada, that the best way of maintaining our life is that through agriculture, Krishi Guraksha Varnijam. So yeah, Krishi means agriculture and cultivation of the land. Krishi Guraksha means protecting the cows, and Varnijam means trade. And trade is whatever excess, then only we can trade. First of all, our concern should be the community where we live. First, we have to fulfill the necessities of the community. Then, if we get some excess, then we can barter, we can trade. But nowadays, the Vaisyas mostly doing trading without cultivating uh, our own food and protecting the cows. And most of the work in the Kali Yuga is belong to the Ugra Karma category, I would say like that. So sometimes also the devotees mention that Varnashram in Kali Yuga is impossible. It is mission impossible. But Srila Prabhupada, he mentioned in many occasions, actually there is one very nice book entitled Speaking About Varnashram. There you can find like a lot of quotes from Srila Prabhupada's conversation, morning walk, lecture, and his purport regarding Varnashram. The book is very thick. That means there are a lot of uh, quotation from Srila Prabhupada when he talk about Varnashram. And Srila Prabhupada, in that book I found Srila Prabhupada mentioned that one of the purposes why we are uh, running this international society for Krishna consciousness is that to establish the Varnashram Dharma as what my spiritual master desire, Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur desire. That ISKCON, one of the purposes of ISKCON is that to establish the Varnashram Dharma. Because by following Varnashram, actually we can be elevated to the mode of goodness. And by situated in the mode of goodness, it's easy for us to be elevated to the Visuddha Sattva platform. So that's actually the only purpose of Varnashram, is just to make us situated in the mode of goodness, because it's easy for us, for those who are situated in the mode of goodness to advance in Krishna consciousness, rather than those who are situated in the passion and ignorance. Those who are situated in the passion, for example, they like to eat whatever they want. Sometimes they eat, pungent food, which is described in the Bhagavad Gita, that it is in the mode of passion. Or those who are situated in the mode of ignorance, they love to sleep more than required, always miss the Mangala Arati. This is the symptom of those who are in the mode of ignorance. Then how they will advance in Krishna consciousness? They will advance because anyway they are in Krishna consciousness, but that will be very, very slow. But those who are in the Sattva Guna, they always raise early in the morning. They love to hear the Srimad Bhagavatam class, and they eat sattvic food, whatever offered to Krishna, sattvic. So how is that, Vishnu Chitta Prabhu? Still you have some doubts?
No, Prabhu, thank you. That was very, very nice explanation. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Okay, text number 32. Yeah. Now 33. Yeah. If, however, you do not perform this religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sins for neglecting your duties and thus lose your reputation as a fighter. So again, in this verse, text number 33, Lord Krishna is defeating Arjuna's one of his reasons, which is sinful reaction. So Arjuna, in the beginning, we found that he didn't want to fight because he's afraid of being affected by sinful reaction. But Krishna mentioned here that if you avoid the fighting, then certainly you will incur sin because you are neglecting your duty, and neglecting your duty is actually sinful. And also, Krishna mentioned here, you will lose your reputation. So in the next verse, we will touch this point more about being dishonored. Okay, for Kshatriya, actually, when Kshatriya is being insulted, that is actually worse than death. Kshatriya cannot be insulted immediately. When Kshatriya being insulted, he has to fight and kill somebody who is insulting him. This is the nature of Kshatriya, because the word which is insulting the Kshatriya is much more painful than the arrow from the enemy. That's what Srila Baladev Vidyabhushana explained. That it better for the Kshatriya being pierced by the enemy's arrows than being pierced by the enemy's words. Text number 34. People will always speak of your infamy, and for a respectable person, dishonor is worse than death. You see, Krishna explained like this. Dishonor is worse than death. Well, I have a question for you. Arjuna is a great devotee. Okay. Why then he should concern of honor and dishonor? He should be equipoise, right? As a devotee, especially he's very close to Krishna. He should be equipoise. Somebody insult me, okay, so what? Honor and dishonor for devotees doesn't matter. Why then Lord Krishna tried to enrage Arjuna here? For a respectable person, dishonor is worse than death. Any thought on that? Yes, Vishnu Chitta Prabhu.
Um, I because Arjuna is a Kshatriya, uh, his acquired nature
Mm.
is to consider honor to be very um, significant, and Arjuna is a devotee. Um, because he's a Kshatriya, he might become very disturbed if 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 there is dishonor for him or his family, and um, yeah, we see many examples of that in the Mahabharata, Bhima, and they're also devotees, but this is what I think.
Thank you for your contribution. Most appreciated. Any other opinion on that? Why Arjuna should be concerned of being honored and dishonored? He's a devotee. He should be equipoise. Anybody else would like to contribute on that? Okay.
Oh, one last
Uh-huh.
point.
Yes.
Prabhupada mentions here in the purport that um, people will call him Arjuna a bad name, and then because Arjuna is Krishna's friend, you know, he would be ultimately it would also bring dishonor to Krishna because um, Krishna Prabhupada saying we ill for misusing my friendship.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yes, that's one of the reason because Krishna is Arjuna's friend. So because of their close friend relationship, so when Arjuna is being insulted and dishonored, definitely that's also will affect Krishna because they are very close friends. And Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan explained also why Arjuna should concern with honor and dishonor, because we have to understand in this particular point of time, actually Krishna speaks to Arjuna not on the transcendental platform. Okay? So Krishna is put into illusion by Krishna's sorry, Arjuna is put into illusion by Krishna's internal potency, by the Yogamaya potency. So Krishna is acting just like ordinary human being who is illusioned by Krishna's energy. So at this time, Krishna speaks to Arjuna not on the transcendental platform, because those who are transcendental on the transcendental platform, they don't care. They don't care. Okay, honor and dishonor, cold or hot, sweet or bitter, whatever, these dualities, this is called dualities in life. Those who are situated in the transcendental platform, they don't bother with all these dualities. But now Krishna speaks to Arjuna not on the transcendental platform. So that's the second reason given by Baladev Vidyabhushan. And the first one is that because of Krishna's close friendship with Arjuna, when Arjuna is being dishonored and being called a coward by his enemies. So Krishna is Kshatriya, and not only they are friends, actually they are cousins. So when your brother is being insulted, you also will get the effect of that. We are belong to the high prestigious family, Kshatriya family. If somebody is insulted in our family members, so we also get the effect of that insult. Thank you. Text number 35. The great generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only, and thus they will consider you insignificant. So Arjuna is actually, if we read the Mahabharata, how actually when Arjuna went to heaven to collect the celestial weapons from different demigods, especially from Indra and also from Lord Shiva, he got actually Pasupat from Lord Shiva, and this uh, Pasupata is actually able to destroy the whole universe. And Arjuna was enraged at that time. If we read the Mahabharata, Arjuna said, I will slay all my enemies using this weapon. Why Arjuna then collect all the celestial weapons if he will not use it on the battlefield? Because it's already predicted, and Arjuna was told that this battle is actually unavoidable. So you have to prepare. So in this way, Arjuna went to heaven. But then now he feels like, oh, I don't want to fight. Then he's simply wasting his time. So actually, Dhritarashtra, when he heard that Arjuna went to heaven for 5 years, 5 years earthly calculation, Arjuna stayed there just only for a few days. But in the earthly calculation, it's already 5 years. When Dhritarashtra heard that Arjuna now in the heaven tried to get the celestial weapons from Indra, so Dhritarashtra, he at that time already he felt like, Arjuna is undefeated. Nobody can defeat Arjuna. Among the Kurus, actually, Arjuna is the most powerful. We heard many times that Karna amongst the brothers, of course, Karna is Kunti's son. Among all these six brothers, Pandavas and Karna is most powerful. But actually, that is not true. That is not true. Arjuna is the most powerful one. Of course, Bhima is having the power of 10,000 elephants, but compared to Arjuna, his skills, Arjuna is having a lot of skills and a lot of, celestial weapons, especially he was given the Brahmastra by Dronacharya. So Arjuna one time mentioned to Duryodhana that you just order me to kill these five Pandavas, I will do it. But it just because of Karna's proud, he was being his pride, and he just wanted to show that how great he is in the front of Duryodhana, because Duryodhana is caring so much amongst the two parties between Pandavas and the Kauravas during the exhibition uh, time after they finished their study. So there was an exhibition of showing their talents, their powers. So Karna also tried to show up at the end, but he was stopped by Dronacharya because he's not belong to Kshatriya family. He's just a son of a chariot driver. But uh, Duryodhana, he was very cunning, and he picked up Karna's hand and made him his friend. And even Duryodhana immediately awarded Karna the kingdom of Anga. So Duryodhana at that time immediately called the Brahmanas who assembled there just to coronate Karna to become the king of Anga. So from that day on, actually, Karna felt ever indebted to Duryodhana and ready to become Duryodhana's slave, practically speaking, like that. So Karna one time he mentioned, "You just order me, I will smash all these five Pandavas." But we find when the Pandavas incognito in Virata's kingdom. So one time they are all attacking the kingdom and stealing all the cows. And then Arjuna alone, at that time he was disguising himself as Brihanala, the eunuch dancing teacher. So he could defeat all the Kauravas and including Dronacharya, Kripacharya, Bhismadev also. And Karna was there also. All of them was defeated by Arjuna. So that's the proof that Arjuna, he was the most powerful among all these personalities. Okay, text number 36. Your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful than you? What could be more painful for you? So again, Krishna tried to invoke Arjuna's anger here. Oh yeah, in the text 36 actually, Baladev Vidyabhushan, Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan explained that in this verse, Krishna again defeating Arjuna's reason for not fighting, which is compassion, because his compassion will be taken uh, wrongly by the opposite party. Okay, Arjuna didn't want to fight because he feels compassion, but the opposite party will think that because he is a coward. So Lord Krishna said that what could be more painful for you? Text 37, O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight. This we have talked before, that there's no loss for Arjuna. He just need to do his duty. If he die, he will go to heaven. If he win the battle, he will get the kingdom. Text 38. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting, without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing you shall never incur sin. So fighting in this spirit, actually, you will not incur sin because you are fighting out of performing your duty. That's it. Whether you lose or you win, it is not your business. Everything is up to Krishna, up to the will of the providence. But your duty is just fighting as a kshatriya. Just fight. That's it. Detach, detach work. Karma neva adhikaraste. We will come to that first. Okay. Srila Prabhupada in his purport writes, Lord Krishna now directly says that Arjuna should fight for the sake of fighting because he desires the battle. There is no consideration of happiness or distress, profit or gain, victory or defeat in the activities of Krishna consciousness. That everything should be performed for the sake of Krishna is transcendental consciousness. So there is no reaction to material activities. So this is the speciality of Krishna consciousness activities. By performing service to Krishna, we will not get both piety and also a sinful reaction. No punya, no papa. Okay, because actually both punya and papa, they are both actually just like two sides of the coin. Two sides of the coin. They are looks different, but actually they are one coin, the same coin. So similarly, papa and punya, if you get papa, you will be punished in the hell. And if you get punya, you will elevate it to the heaven. But the same thing happening, you are being bound in the material world. That's it. Therefore, Krishna consciousness activities is called transcendental activities because it is not putting more punya into your bank account, nor do, of course, you will not incur any sin, but no material punya. Okay, that's the last slide for this presentation. Before I move to the second presentation, is there any question, comment? So this is the second part of our discussion. Oh yeah, Vishnu Chitta Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So is this verse? Maybe I'm jumping a little ahead over here, but is um, chapter two, the text 38?
Mm.
Is that similar to Karma Sannyasa Yoga, or that is a little different?
That is called actually Buddhi Yoga. Text 38 is refers to Buddhi Yoga because detached work. Buddhi Yoga is the combination of karma and gyan. So karma and gyan combined together, one becomes detached in his activities. Detached in his activities means not detaching the activities, giving up the activities, but giving up the result. That is called Buddhi Yoga. And in one point, Srila Prabhupada also mentioned in one purport that he mentioned that uh, Karma Sannyas Yoga. Yeah, this is called Karma Sannyas Yoga or Buddhi Yoga or Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada mentioned that one in one of his purport. So text 38 is Buddhi Yoga or Karma Sannyas Yoga. But that will be more elaborately explained in the chapter 5 actually. Yeah. Yes, Prabhu.
Um, so if this is sorry, um, so Prabhu, if this is a Buddhi Yoga, then how come Krishna in the next verse says, "So far I have disturbed Sankhya. Now I shall describe Buddhi Yoga." That is, when I was reading, I was also confused because this seemed like Buddhi Yoga,
Mm.
this on just this verse alone. But
No,
then Krishna next,
yeah. Krishna just giving the preliminary to the next verse. He's touching it a little bit.
okay,
Krishna is just peeling the banana peel. Now he will give the banana pulp to Arjuna. Where? So yeah, Buddhi Yoga will be explained in this section. Fight but without any reaction. So Buddhi Yoga is combination of karma and gyan. So we know what should be done, that is karma. What is our duty, that is karma. And then gyan means knowledge. And ultimately, we are performing this not for my sake, but it's just for the sake of performing my duty and for the sake of Krishna, definitely. So that is called Buddhi Yoga. And Srila Prabhupada, as I mentioned earlier, mentioned that Buddhi Yoga is also Krishna consciousness. Karma, Sannyas Yoga, or Buddhi Yoga, or Krishna consciousness. So karma and gyan are combined together to engage the transcendentalist in work with knowledge. Krishna gives a brief explanation of Buddhi Yoga, working without attachment to the fruit. So Buddha Yoga means we are detaching from the fruits of the activities, not from the activities itself. Krishna also shows how attachment to sense enjoyment and material opulence, as given in the Karma Kanda section of the Vedas, is an obstacle to determination in devotional service. By Buddha Yoga, one becomes indifferent to the Vedic rituals, gains freedom from sinful reactions, attains liberation from the cycle of birth and death, and goes back home, back to Godhead. Lord Krishna thus defeats Arjuna's argument for fear of sinful reaction. So we'll see all this in this section. Text number 39. Thus far I have described this knowledge to you through analytical study. Now listen as I explain it in terms of working without fruitive result. O son of Pritha, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from bondage of works. So we can understand here that actually what is actually binding us, the attachment of the result of our activity is actually the cause of our bondage in this material world. But those who are detached, they simply perform their duties and let Krishna do whatever, whether he will get the result or no result. It's up to Krishna. That is called detachment, but not detaching from the work. Work should be done, but the result is we are not entitled for that. In both ways, in the proportion of Prabhupada writes, in both ways, the basic principles were for sense gratification, happiness derived from conquering them and happiness derived by seeing kinsmen alive are both on the basis of personal sense gratification, even at sacrifice of wisdom and duty. So you see, Krishna's argument here to defeat Arjuna's reason not fighting, which is enjoyment. First of all, Arjuna mentioned that how will I enjoy, how will I enjoy the kingdom without my family? So he's concerning about his happiness actually, both by okay, let's say like this in the simple way. If Krishna really hate his enemies, his family who torture, sorry, I mentioned Krishna. If Arjuna hates his cousin brothers who has tortured him and wanted to kill him and enjoy the kingdom, that is called sense gratification. That is one. And then the second one is that if Arjuna feels that what is the use of enjoying the kingdom without my kinsmen, without my cousin brothers, that is also another type of sense enjoyment. So both ways, Prabhupada mentioned here, the basic principles were for sense gratification. So now, what is the basic principle of sense gratification? Anybody would like to answer this question? What is the basic principle of sense gratification? Maybe others also would like to share, not only Vishnu Chitta Prabhu. Any thought, any idea? What is the basic principle of sense gratification? Okay, this is the basic principles of sense gratification, enjoying separately from Krishna. So that's the only thing, enjoying separately from Krishna. Sometimes we are asking a question among ourselves or even the outsiders. Outsider means the non-devotees. Can those who are practicing spiritual life enjoy life? Yes, of course, we are enjoying life, but we're enjoying life, enjoying the senses with Krishna, not separately from Krishna, but with Krishna. The moment we enjoy separately from Krishna, that is called sense gratification, and that's actually sinful. But when we see our daily activities, like we are taking prasadam, for example, We are enjoying it. We are enjoying the prasada. We are enjoying the prasada, and that is okay because we are enjoying with Krishna in the sense of that food is already sanctified, is offered to Krishna and purified by Krishna, tasted first by Lord Krishna, and whatever remnants is there, so we can enjoy that. We are enjoying prasadam, we are enjoying kirtan, okay. We are enjoying sometimes lecture. Sometimes we are enjoying lecture also when the lecture really get very, excited. The speaker is really nice, for example, and the topic is really touching our heart. So we are enjoying this. We are enjoying the festival. We can imagine that before we are joining Krishna consciousness movement, hardly we have festival. Maybe during Janmashtami only, or Durga Puja, or Ganesh Chaturthi, Sivaratri, things like this. That is festival. But in Krishna consciousness, every day we have festival. Every day we have singing and dancing. That is festival. Even taking darshan of the deities, actually, that's a great festival. Sukadev Goswami explained in the ninth canto. What is that? Yashyananam makara kundala charu karna brajat kapola subagam savilasahasam nityotsavam nata tripur disribi pibantyo naryo naracha mudita kupita nimescha. So Nitya Utsav, Nityotsavam Nata Tribur. So seeing Krishna's face during Darshanarati, okay, seeing Krishna's face is actually Nitya Utsav, eternal festival. Nitya, eternal. Utsav means festival. So Yashyananam Makara Kundala Charukarna. How actually Sukadev Goswami explaining Krishna's brilliant, beautiful cheek is always kissed by his earrings in the form of sharks. Yashyananam Makara Kundala. Kundala means earrings. Brajat Kapola Subhagam. Savilasa Hasam. Subhagam. Mangala means auspicious, and Subhaga means very, very auspicious. So to see Krishna's face is very, very auspicious. To see the deities, the beautiful decorated deities during Darsanarati, that's very, very auspicious. Nityosavam Nata Tripur Drisibi Pibantyo. Nityasava. This is the eternal festival. Sukadev Goswami explained. Drisibi Pibantyo. And the residents of Vrindavan, especially Drisibi Pibantyo, using their eyes, they are actually Pibantyo. They are drinking the nectarian of Krishna's face through their eyes. They are drinking this nectar through their eyes. Drisibi Pibantyo. Naryo Nara Chamudita Kupita Nimesha. And actually, they got very upset with what? Kupitanime, the blinking of their eyes. They get upset when their eyes is blinking while seeing Krishna. Because this momentary blinking, if they are put together, it will be a lot. So the gopis, the gopas, they cannot tolerate this blinking of the eyes. Kupita Nimesha. And they get very upset with the creator, Lord Brahma. They are cursing Brahma. What kind of creator are you? You are creating this body, you are creating these eyes imperfectly. When Krishna in the front of us, these eyes should be blinking. But when Krishna away from us, these eyes is open. So they are cursing Brahma, saying that you are a stupid creator. So the basic principles, again, of sense gratification is enjoying separately from Krishna. Text number 14. This is very famous verse. Niha vikramana sosti pratyavayo navidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. Vishnu Chitta Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sorry, I'm asking many questions today.
No, that's actually I feel good when the students asking many questions because I feel the reciprocation and asking question is one of the symptoms that you are attentive. I'm not saying that others are not attentive, no, but when you're really attentive, there are a lot of things that you want to ask. Yes, Prabhu, please.
Um, so in the previous verse, Prabhupada says this thus Buddhi Yoga mentioned in this verse is devotional service
Mm.
of the Lord. And then he also says that he says now consequently Krishna will now tell him about the working process in Buddhi Yoga or Karma Yoga. So I'm getting a little confused over here between Buddhi Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Karma Sannyasa Yoga.
Yeah. In the beginning also, I got really confused whether Srila Prabhupada talk about Karma Kanda or Karma Yoga. Prabhupada mentioned also Karma Yoga, Buddhi Yoga, or Krishna consciousness, something like that. So after all, actually, this section is actually the first unit, the first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita is actually Karma Yoga. And then the second 6 chapters, the middle part is Bhakti Yoga. And the last one is Jnana Yoga. Okay. But we find in Srila Prabhupada's purport, start from the beginning, he always talks about Bhakti. Okay. Especially in the 3rd chapter, that is Karma Yoga. That is Karma Yoga. But Srila Prabhupada in his purport, we will find, okay, later we will find that he just talk about Bhakti because that is Srila Prabhupada's vision. That is the vision of a pure devotee. When a pure devotee describe about karma yoga, because after all, the root meaning of yoga, yuj means to reconnect, linking process. So reconnect to Krishna, connecting to Krishna, linking to Krishna. That is actually actual yoga. So when Srila Prabhupada mentioned about karma yoga or Krishna consciousness, that means we are acting in Krishna consciousness. Karma means activities. Yoga means in connection to Krishna. So we are acting in connection to Krishna. And Buddhi Yoga also, we are using our intelligence in connection to Krishna. That's why Srila Prabhupada mentioned in this purport that Krishna consciousness, Karma Yoga or Krishna consciousness. This verse 9.27, Yat Karosi Yat Asnasi verse, Sila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explained this is Karma Yoga. Okay, this is Karma Yoga because we want to act according to our desire, but at the same time, we don't want to enjoy the fruit of that activities for us alone. So first, we want to get it purified by offering it to Krishna. But text number 26, 9.26, the verse Patram Puspam Palam Toyam, that is Bhakti Yoga. So Vishwana Chakravarti Thakur explained that is Bhakti Yoga. Text 27 of the 9th chapter, that is Karma Yoga. But we see that it's devotional service, right? 9.27 is devotional service at Karosi, at Asnasi, whatever you do it for me. Karosi at Asnasi, at Juhosi, at Dasi, whatever you eat, you offer it that first to me. Whatever charity you give away, that's only for my satisfaction. So we see that is Krishna consciousness, right? That is Krishna consciousness. But the Acharya explained that that is Karma Yoga. It is not Karma Kanda, it is Karma Yoga because it is in connection to Krishna. Let's take an example. Today I want to eat pizza, let's say like that, okay? An example. Today I want to eat pizza. But we find that in the Raja Boga song that there is no pizza mentioned. There is dal, this sabji, that sukta, this sweet, that sweet. So, but I want to eat pizza. I want to eat pizza. So I cook pizza. But I don't want to eat bhoga. That is sinful. So for that purpose, I have to offer it to Krishna first. Then I honor it as prasada. This is called karma yoga. But in a glance, we see that It is Krishna consciousness activity because after all, we offer it first to Krishna, then we honor it as prasada. But before that, we want to do something. So karma yoga, the idea is that we want to do something, but we don't want to disconnect that activities with Krishna. Therefore, somehow or other, we make an endeavor and connect it to Krishna. That is karma yoga. But bhakti yoga means we do what Krishna desire. We do what Krishna's order us to do. That is bhakti yoga. But karma yoga, I want to do something, but I don't want to be separate from Krishna in that activity. So somehow or other, I connect it. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada mentioned karma yoga, buddhi yoga, or Krishna consciousness, because it is always in connection to Krishna. Therefore, when the devotee talk about karma yoga, that is Krishna consciousness activities. Of course, it has some motivation, material motivation. For example, in the case of eating pizza, I want to gratify my tongue. I want to gratify my tongue. Actually, there is no need of eating pizza. I can survive without pizza, but I want it. I want to gratify my tongue. But I also don't want to disconnect that pizza with Krishna. So I have to offer it first. That is karma yoga. Still, it is Krishna consciousness activities, but in the lower level, I would say like that. Compared to when we do something which is Krishna's desire, which is Krishna's order, then it is uh, bhakti yoga, devotional service. But if we do something out of our desire, but somehow or other we make endeavor to connect to Krishna, that is karma yoga. But still, there is no loss because it's always in connection to Krishna. Did you get my point? In the beginning, also, I got really confused and I asked many senior devotees. And this explanation, what I give to you, is what I have heard from many different senior devotees. Yes, Vishnu Chitra Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu, that did clarify to some extent. So here, Buddhi Yoga means it is like Karma Yoga because you want to do something and therefore, but it is being linked with Krishna consciousness. Is that why the Buddhi Yoga is called as Karma Yoga? Unlike
Yeah. The idea of Buddhi Yoga is that when we perform our work, but with detachment with the result. So the work is karma, okay? And then the detachment from the result, that means we are investing our buddhi, our intelligence into it. So we are performing our duty just for the sake of, because Krishna ordered me to do this, then I just do it. But we don't attach with the result. That's the idea of Buddhi Yoga. And that's actually much more elevated. The consciousness in that Buddhi Yoga is much more elevated than Karma Yoga itself. So simply karma yoga is we still attach with the result, just like eating pizza. Again, I give you this very simple example because I want it. I want it. I want the result. They come out, which is the pizza. I cook it. I cook because I want to eat that. But in Buddhi yoga, just it's actually uh, in the pure state. Actually, that is a pure state of bhakti is also called Buddhi Yoga. For example, those who are cooking for Raja Voga, so they just cook because they just want to offer to Krishna. Whether the prasadam later I will get it or somebody else will get it, it doesn't matter. My duty is just to cook for Krishna. That is Buddhi Yoga or Krishna consciousness in the much more sophisticated level. Rather than the Karma Yoga, okay, I want to eat this, so I cook it, I offer it to Krishna because the result I will get it. And what is that result? That prasada. Yeah. Does that
okay, Prabhu, thank you.
clarify?
Um, I I hope I mean I do understand. I don't have any questions right now, but as we go over the chapters, I think it will become a little more clear also.
Yeah, I also hope. Otherwise, you can ask some senior devotees around you where you are associating. they may get,
Okay. It's just the technical differences is
yeah,
a
yeah,
little bit.
just,
I can understand the principle.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
This, we talk about this, and this Nehabikramana Susti, very famous verse, Pratyavayo Navidyate, there is no loss or diminution. The Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada gave a very famous story from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto of Ajamil. Material activities and their result end with the body, but work in Krishna consciousness carries a person again to Krishna consciousness, even after the loss of the body. So Ajamil, he was, as we know that in his young age, he was trained nicely by his father. He is a Brahmana, actually born in the Brahmana family. So he used to perform puja. He has Narayan Sila. It is described that he has Narayan Sila. So he performed puja daily. But somehow or other, he got attracted by a prostitute. And since that day, he became like, the first class rascal, let's say like that. And he used to gamble, robbing, and even he abandoned his young, beautiful wife for this prostitute. And he begot like 10 children from this prostitute. So he was totally disconnected with Krishna consciousness. But because his last son, the youngest son, was named Narayan, so he was, when he called his son, Narayan, please come here to eat. Narayan, please take baths. Like this, every day he was chanting actually Krishna's name. So there's no loss and diminution because he was performing up to some level, devotional service up to some level in his young age. Now he resumed again performing devotional service after the incident that the Yamadutas came and Vishnudutas came also to save his life. And not immediately he uh, goes back home, back to Godhead after being saved from Vishnuduta, but rather he continued to perform devotional service. He went to Haridwar, performed some austerities. So yeah, definitely he was benefited mostly from the chanting of Narayan, the chanting of the holy names when he was addressing his own son. So this is the power of Krishna's name. Therefore, it is very essential to give our children Krishna's name, because even if we are angry with our son or daughter, when we address that names, actually we are, even though unknowingly chanting, still we get benefited. Mriyamano Harinama Grinan Putro Pacharitam. What is that? Grinam Putro Pacharitam. Ajamilo Pyagadhamo Kim Utasradaya Grinan. Kim Utasradaya Grinan. Mriyamano Harinama. So on the bed of his death, it is described in the Srimad Bhagavatam text. Sorry, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 2, text number 49 for your reference. So Mriyamano Harinama on the deathbed of Ajamil. So he was calling Harir Nama. What is that? He's calling Narayan, his son, who was playing around him. Grinan Putro Pacharitam. He didn't mean to call Lord Narayan, Lord Krishna, but he was calling his Grinan Putro Pacharitam, his putra, his son. But what happened to that sinful Ajamil? Ajamilo Pyagad Dhamo. The result of that chanting is that Apyagad Dhamo. He get the spiritual world, Dhamma. Kim Utas Radhaya Grinan. And what to speak of those who chant with full faith? Kim Utas Radhaya Grinan. Those who are chanting without faith also get the spiritual world. And what to speak of all of you who are chanting with full faith? Of course, offenseless chanting is best. Sometimes we are seeing many devotees chanting inattentively, or Facebook chanting or WhatsApp chanting, whatever. This is called mechanical chanting. But still, mechanical chanting is better than not chanting at all. But we have to uh, pursue our goal to the level of offenseless chanting. So in the case of Ajamil, it is considered to be offenseless chanting because he's not having any material motivation to chant Krishna's name. It is called Namabhash, offenseless chanting. And after all, actually, it is described that uh, we are committing a lot of offenses with the devotees around us. Therefore, it's difficult for us to have spiritual advancement because we are chanting Hare Krishna. At the same time, we are tend to offend the devotees who are around us. But in the case of Ajamila, because he didn't have any devotees association, that is his advantage actually. That he was chanting and didn't commit any offense to the devotees because he didn't have any devotees association. Therefore, his chanting when he was calling this Narayan, his son, is actually described by the Acharyas, and Srila Prabhupada also described that it is the chanting on the level of Namabhas. So there are three levels of chanting, as we know. One is Namaparad, Namabhas, and Sudanam. So Namaparad is like offensive chanting, such as inattentive, or we are having some motivation, or we think that this chanting of Hare Krishna is simply a fantasy, or it's just exaggeration. But offenseless chanting Namabhas is when we avoid all these 10 offenses that normally we recite every morning after Mangalarati. In some temples, they are reciting these 10 offenses to the holy name. And of course, Sudanam is the level of pure chanting. Okay, I think I will stop now. It's already 1.5 hours. We will continue the next class from this point. Okay, we have 1 minute. Is there any last question or comment before I end the class? Okay, if there is no, thank you all very much. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna.